Hello, everyone, and welcome to GHT Time, where we discuss all things General Hospital. If you haven't already, please hit the bell notification so you'll be alerted to when we upload a new video. And I want to say a special thank you to everyone who has subscribed so far. And if you haven't, please hit the like and subscribe button because it really helps out the channel, guys. So let's get started. If you haven't already, get your tea, get your snacks, put your feet up, and let's see what our characters are up to. General Hospital Daily Recap, Tuesday, February 10th, 2026. So, guys, there was a bunch of folks in this episode. We had some Tracy, some Pascal, some Sunny, some Marco, some Sidwell. So let's kind of see what our favorite bunch of characters are up to. Lucy decided to go get a little pedicure, and because she was upset because Sidwell rejected her. And while she was there getting her little manicure, pedicure, Ava came in, and Ava kind of was looking at her like, I thought you was at, she's like, I'm shocked to see you here because I thought you was at Windermere. And Lucy kind of was just like, she's not going to be, kind of basically like she made the decision to stay away from Sidwell because she's not going to be one of his fillies in the stable. Anyway, Ava and her are going back and forth with each other, but Ava just treats Lucy like she's a joke. And Lucy kind of got upset. She didn't want to hear what Ava had to say, so she got up in the middle of her pedicure and left. Tracy walks in. She sees Cody reading a book, and she was like, "Why are you reading that?" So, he's like, "Oh, what do you think? I'm not smart enough to read?" And Tracy's kind of just looking at him, like, but whatever. So anyway, Cody tells Tracy what's going on between him and Molly. And Tracy was kind of giving him the rundown of like these classic books. Like, if anybody who read Pride and Prejudice, you know that Mr. Darcy was a jerk in the beginning, and at the end we were all rooting for Mr. Darcy to get together with the heroine of the story. So Cody, like, it seems like he only read 1 page or 2 pages of Molly's book, and he just jumped to the ultimate conclusion without even reading the whole thing. And Tracy was kind of getting on him and saying, like, Molly's smart. She wouldn't just be talking to you just because she thinks you're stupid or something like that. And Cody's still not buying it. So I hope somewhere along the line he listens to Tracy and stops being silly. I mean, this is a grown man. It makes me almost wonder if he is kind of something wrong with him because at this point, I mean, at least the minimum he can do is read the whole book. This jump into conclusions and all kind of stuff like this, and he has to be in his 30s. He needs to grow up. But anyway, hopefully he takes Tracy's advice, reads the story or watch the movie all the way through so he can see what kind of point Molly was making in her book. Or at least read Molly's whole book before he jumps to the ultimate conclusion. Molly caught up with Kristina to tell her that she knows she's the one who submitted her book. So Kristina didn't deny it. She was just kind of like, she's happy for her sister because she's going to get the book published. And then Molly kind of jumped on her. She's like, you're the reason this is the end of my relationship with Cody. For once, I'm going to give Kristina, this is not Kristina's fault. This is Cody being silly's fault. So anyway, the girls are going back and forth, and Kristina's like, "This is a big accomplishment. You should be happy." And she's kind of like, Kristina was just like, Cody will understand eventually, and which he probably will. But for her to even have to go through this, Molly, to have to go through this right now is so silly. So we'll see what happens with this. But Cody needs to grow up really quick. Or I'm telling you, I'm on the clock with this relationship. If they don't give these people grown up stuff to do, I think I'm about done. Valentin is just convinced that Windermere is where he can find information, right? So he's saying he's just going there. Carly is worried that if he goes there, he's going to be spotted and get caught. So she's kind of like, I'll go there. So, Valentin's like, no, they're kind of going back and forth with each other. But finally, Carly convinced him and says, listen, I have a reason I could be there. Sidwell extended her an invitation to come to talk to Lucas, so she's going to use Lucas as an excuse to go in there. She did say she felt bad because everybody's using Lucas to get into this Windermere to find out what's going on. She shouldn't feel that bad because she needs to find out what's going on so she can help her brother because he can make himself hurt. So that was it for that. So she's on her way to Windermere to find out what's going on. Lucas comes home and he sees Pascal is back. So he was just like, oh, you're back, you know? So, you know, Pascal is looking at him and kind of just like nasty and stuff like that. So Lucas went off on him, was kind of like, oh, I know what your problem is. You're just jealous. You know, kind of making insinuations that Pascal wants Marco. I mean, come on, Lucas. But anyway, Pascal kind of went in on him. It was just like, you know, you Americans and stuff like that. But he did say to him, he was kind of like, you're so blind to what's really going on here. I was like, wait a minute, Pascal, you gonna give up information? It's just like, wait a minute, wait a minute. But I was like, once he give up some information, you know, he gonna get rid of Lucas. So I, Lucas really needs to move. I don't know why he still lives there. I'm like, run fast. But anyway, um, with that, Marco comes in, and Marco's like, Pascal, like kind of just to shut him off, and like, what are you doing? So Marco de-escalates the situation, kind of tells Pascal to go on about his way. I think Sidwell came in too to kind of talk to Pascal to kind of get him to calm down. But Marco took Lucas into the little foyer, little sitting area thing that they have and closed the door. And Lucas was kind of getting ready to ask some questions. Right? He was like, oh, I can't believe, you know, Pascal and this, that, and all this stuff. And Marco gives him this big kiss, basically to kind of distract him from what Pascal just said. Sidwell heard the whole confrontation between Lucas and Pascal. So once Lucas left with Marco, they went into the other room. Sidwell kind of got on Pascal and told him, listen, if you can't keep it together, I'm going to ship you out of here. So Pascal is like, why does he even got to live here? You know, like Lucas, he says Lucas should just get out of here. He's going to mess up the whole operation. So I was like, look, as long as my son is happy, I'm happy, and he gets to stay. All right. So, but I think Pascal was right because Lucas shouldn't even be roaming around that. They doing so much shady stuff in that place, but whatever. And Sidwell asked Pascal for an update on Anna, and he told him the whole rundown how they just, you know, took Anna, made her feel like she escaped from the car, and then now, you know, she's at some mental facility. Here's what I said before in the previous video. Sidwell says, oh, she's at a mental facility. Do we still have contact to her, you know, access to her? Again, I'm like, why would Mac or Felicia or Jason or any of them leave her out there by herself? She said the WSB, she was, even if we didn't believe none of the stories she said, the WSB sent her out there. Obviously, something happened to her. She wasn't like that when she left. So something happened to her. So you're just going to leave her out in Paris at some mental facility when she said she escaped and everything from some people? No, somebody should be out there watching her. But anyway, I'm sure these people are going to have their hands all over Anna and her situation, and those doctors that's watching over her are probably going to be their people eventually. But you know, so after that, Stilwell kind of put Pascal in his place and was like, you know, you better get it together. So if Pascal don't get it together, he gonna ship him off to La La Land somewhere. I don't know where Pascal, what dungeon he lives in, but he's probably gonna ship him off to his little dungeonous place. Marco and Lucas was on the couch, you know, talking to each other. The door bell rings or knocked or whatever. Somebody comes by. So Carly comes by, and she says to Sidwell, you know, I'm taking you up on your offer. I want to come and talk to my brother. So Sidwell's all happy. He was like, oh, great. I'm glad you're going to do this. So Carly comes in. Marco and Lucas looks at her like, what are you doing here? And she's just like, you know, I want to apologize. But we all know that Carly is there not to really apologize to Lucas. She wants to get in so she could look around Windermere for Valentin. So she's going to use the same situation like Jocelyn and just act like she's there for her brother, but she's really there to spy. But she is kind of there for her brother too, because hopefully somewhere along the line she can help Lucas get up on out of there, because I'm sure he is going to be on the clock soon. Portia and Liz were talking, and Portia was just telling Liz how she feels so much more relaxed and comfortable with Isaiah. And Liz was like, she's happy for her, you know. And then she kind of went into, you know, a little bit about Curtis and how she felt, you know, trapped. And she said she's more concerned about the baby and Trina. She said it would be easier if the baby is Curtis's because then it's like they're related more, that they have the same fathers. Which I think is so silly because Trina is in her 20s. It doesn't matter. It's like they're still going to be siblings. Like that's going to be her brother or sister. But okay, she's really concerned about Trina and understanding the baby and eh, whatever. So after that, she starts. Liz is kind of just being like, "You looked a little stressed because what not knowing who the father is seems like it's stressing you out more, and you know you can't have all the stress while you're pregnant." So Portia kind of went back and forth with Liz for a minute, but I think Liz has finally convinced her that she needs to go have this paternity test. At least once she knows, that'll be one thing less that she has to worry about who's the father of this baby. I think when she finds out who the father of the baby is, that's just going to bring on a whole nother a bunch of issues. But it looks like Portia's leaning towards having a paternity test. And if you watch the spoilers, not the spoiler, the promo for this week, there's a video that I put up, and if you're interested, you can see what happens if Portia chose to have the paternity test or not. Danny asked his grandmother to come over, Alexis, and asked her about the Cassadine family tree. So, Danny said he had a project for school and he needed to know because he's making a family tree project. So Alexis was giving him the rundown who the Cassadines are, and then he kind of stopped in the middle. He was like, "Well, what about Charlotte's part of the family?" And I guess he liked what um, Alexis said, that their great great grandfather or somebody, that's the only connection that they have. Look, this storyline, I don't know. The writers are really trying to push it. You can see they're going to push this, that it's okay for these two to date. Y'all guys let me know how you feel down in the comment section. I think that they need to bring in another actor or actress because like these kids need to have some interaction with some other folks. And I get it that they probably have a really tight budget over there and they can't hire a whole bunch of people, but this is just strange. I don't know why they're trying to push Charlotte and Danny together. It's just weird. And I don't think anybody's going for it. But Danny was very happy when he heard from Alexis that it was just some great, 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 great grandfather that is a connection to them. Which, listen, I told you my breakdown. I said, I don't understand this great, great grandfather when they say Alexis is Valentin's cousin, Sam's a Cassadine, they're related. That's the end of the story. But okay, okay. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think that the writers are wrong on this one. I think they need to do better. But all right, I'm gonna let this one be. Jason and Sunny were catching up. So Jason was telling Sunny about Anna and her condition, and that he spoke to somebody out there, and that she's not well, but she does truly believe that Faison is alive, and that she spoke to Peter August and stuff like that. And then Jason kind of beat up on himself because he was like, I needed to be out there. I should have went. I felt bad. And then Sonny made a valid point. He said, you can't save everybody. Jason got to calm down. He can't be in 9 different places at one time. So as they was concluding that conversation, Alexis knocked on the door. And Jason was like, great, I'm glad you were able to meet me here instead of me having to go over to Wyndham, to the Quartermains. But Alexis wanted to bring Jason up on he may need to go speak to Danny because of that whole story. Danny gave her the story of doing this family project and blah blah blah. But Alexis thought maybe he likes Charlotte, that his father needs to go talk to him. Sonny and Jason kind of smiled or smirked to each other, and then Jason went on to go talk to Danny. I guess everybody's okay with this Danny Charlotte thing, but Alexis did talk to Sonny once Jason left and kind of was just updating him on Michael's case, which I thought was weird because I don't know why he needs to update, but whatever. She asked how Carly thought about it, and Sonny was just kind of like, it's just what it is, and then that was kind of the end of their conversation. Jason came in and talked to Danny and kind of was like, well, you need the Quartermain side of the family, and Danny kind of knew that his father knew that he wasn't really doing in a project. He brought up the whole thing a little bit about Charlotte. I'm guessing they're going to continue this conversation tomorrow. I hope Jason kind of tells him that, he is related in some way. I don't know. Like I said, these writers are pushing this. I'm not sure why, but this is where they're going with it. So we're going to see what happens with this. I'm sure that conversation is going to continue tomorrow, and we'll see what Jason's advice is to his son. Lucy came to speak to Sonny, and Sonny was trying to get her not to come in because he was like, "Oh, I'm meeting with Alexis," but Alexis was like, "No, I got to get out of here." So Lucy kind of pushed her way in, took her coat off, and all dramatic and stuff. And then he says, Sonny's like, "Okay, what can I help you with, Lucy?" And she's like, "You can clean Sidwell's clock. That's what." And I'm like, "What?" Okay. So now she's over here as Sonny, probably going to ask Sonny to do something to Sidwell because Sidwell rejected her. Lucy needs to go find some place to be. It should not be at Sonny's. Go find something to do. I don't know what is going on with her. Like, she's not making no sense. So I want to see what her conversation is going to be with Sonny tomorrow. But I don't know. I don't. Who cares? I just say, don't know. Sidwell said, "Don't give him an ultimatum," and honestly, I can see that because they've been together for. I mean, she's been talking to Sidwell for a few months now. I mean, I don't know where in her head she thought this was an exclusive relationship and stuff like that. Lucy, to me, has always been a strange one. So we'll see what she got to say to Sonny tomorrow. So guys, that was the end of the episode. If you haven't already, hit the bell notification, hit the like and subscribe because it really helps the channel. And thank you for joining us at GHT time. And I will see you again shortly. Bye.